Welcome to another episode. We got stuff done this time. So I think when we left last, we were reassembling the engine. I've kind of been in a mad dash mode because we've got a Cars and Coffee event that I really want this thing to be at on Sunday this week. It is Friday, so we're pushing it. But we mad dash rushed and put the thing back together and then towed it to SCR Performance to get the alignment. And I've got my alignment settings right here. So I kind of achieved more or less exactly what we wanted. The caster on this truck from the factory is very close to zero. I don't know how well this is going to show up on camera, but this is based on the factory settings. You can see the caster is like a mile off. It's way off. But we managed to get 3.45 degrees of caster. More caster is generally better for performance applications. So that's about as good as we can expect considering the original caster is like close to zero. Camber, we got negative 2.1 degrees. So that's not an insane amount of camber, which I didn't want, but it's a lot better than factory because again, that's extremely close to zero. And then toe, 0.12. So just a little bit towed in. So yeah, it's like very close to what I was trying to achieve. It should be a million times better for handling and stuff. And we got some story to get to before we can get to this part. But we did take it on a little test drive, and I can say it drives a hell of a lot better, like much better. We also encountered a few challenges, you might say. After we put the whole thing back together and fired it up, I had some really insane stuff I didn't expect. Nothing on the engine was really changed. There should not have been anything different from how it was left 6 months ago when I started this project, and it was running perfectly at the time. I just didn't have a clutch. But when we fired it up, it ran like absolute garbage. I mean, like the worst it has ever run, ever. And it said I had no oil pressure. Turns out GM oil pressure sensors are like horrendously unreliable. Ironically, my friend who used to be a tech actually warned me about this when the engine was on the ground, and we were like, haha, we should probably do that. Well, it's a low miles engine. It'll be fine. I've never had a problem before. It's a problem. So it was reporting like -7 PSI for no reason. It's like impossible. So we ended up having to replace it while the engine was in place. That was so much harder than if we had done it before. It is super buried back in here between the firewall, and you can just barely get a tool in there. In fact, my buddy had to make this tool. This is like a huge lug nut socket that we had to grind down until it was smaller so that it would fit in this really cramped space and just barely take the sensor out, which you can't even really see because it's tucked in there so deep. But we got it. Put the new one in, I crossed my fingers, and we have oil pressure, so it's okay. The engine, I think, was running like crap just because it was a little low on fuel, and 6 months is long enough to make the gas go bad, so we had air in the lines and stuff like that. But after just kind of letting it run and putting some fresh 91 in it, it cleaned up and is starting to run really nice again. But it was pretty freaky. And on top of all that, after all that testing and us messing around with it, I got a weird plastic burny smell. Turns out the new path that I had routed the clutch line on, which was to avoid it being crushed by the engine when it torques over, was causing it to sit way too close to the exhaust and overheat. So we had to completely redesign that. I ended up wrapping more of the header. Anytime you're working on something like this, it's like you touch one thing and 5 other things fall apart or change or whatever. So it's been lots of adapting. But I think we've pretty much got it. And we're going to take it to Cars and Coffee this Sunday. Hopefully it makes it all the way there and back. I'm going to try to capture some footage of that, so you have that to look forward to. Yeah, it's up and running. It's time to go drive this thing. What's up?
I think my truck's broken.
Wait, no way. Really?
Yeah.
What's it doing?
I don't know. I was like, I pulled up to that stop, right, and then I kind of waited for traffic, and then I went, and then I heard a bang bang, and then it don't move no more.